Sine and cosine rule, part 3, choosing a rule. In the previous two videos on the sine and the cosine rule, we've mainly been focusing on how to use the rules. In this clip, we're going to be looking at which rule to use when. Just as a reminder, the sine and cosine rule are used whenever you do not have a right angled triangle. The important step before we look at choosing which rule to use is to make sure that the triangle is labelled correctly. The side opposite an angle should have the same letter, e.g. side A is opposite angle A. It however doesn't matter which side you decide to call A, B and C, just as long as the corresponding angles are labelled correctly. Which rule you use depends on which sides and angles you know the values of. So let's have a look. So the first condition for using the sine rule is that you have two angles and one side. So for example, we have two angles here and we have one side here, and we're looking for this side. So we have a pair which we know, and then the other pair we have one unknown. Now again, we've been given two angles and a side. We're looking for this side, x. Now if we look to see if we can find a pair we know, and then in the other pair we have one unknown, we at the moment don't have it. We have this pair, but then we don't have another pair with one of them being a known value. However, don't forget, if we know angle A and angle B, we can work out the third angle in the triangle. So that is your first condition for using the sine rule. The second condition for using the sine rule is if you have two sides and one angle and it's not the included angle, which means the angle between the two sides that are given. So let's have a look at a couple of examples. So we have two sides and an angle, and it's not the included angle, which means the angle between two sides, so that's fine. So let's just check our pairs. So we have one pair there because we know angle A and side A. We know side C and we're trying to find angle C. So that's perfect. And let's look at another. So if we had angle A, side B, and we're looking for this angle B, we have a pair there, and in this pair we have just the one unknown, x, which we're trying to find. So that is the second condition for using the sine rule. Now let's have a look at the cosine rule. So the first condition for using the cosine rule is if you have two sides and an angle, and this time the angle is the included angle, which means it's between the two sides that you've been given. So let's have a look. So we've been given these two sides and we've been given angle B, which is the included because it's between the two sides, and we're being asked to find this side, which is side B. So we can use the cosine here because we've got two sides, the included angle, and we're trying to find the third side. And again, if we look at this one, we have two sides, we have the included angle, and we're trying to find this third side. So it is, again, the cosine rule. Now the second condition for using the cosine rule is whenever you have three sides and you have no angles. So we could have all three sides and be asked to find angle C, or we could have all three sides and be asked to find angle A. In this instance, we use the cosine rule. So that is the final condition for using the cosine rule. So you can remember the conditions for the sine rule and for the cosine rule, or most people just try and use the sine rule first, and if they can't, they then go to the cosine rule. Now it's your turn to answer some questions. Pause the video, then have a go. How did you get on? Here are the answers. If you answered any incorrectly, have a look back through the video and then have another go.